My daughter threw my insulin away. I found the bottles in the trash can outside, tucked under coffee grounds and junk mail. My hands shook as I pulled them out. The bottles were still sealed. They weren't expired. Jessica had lied. I stood there in the driveway, the California sun beating down on my neck, holding those bottles like evidence, because that's exactly what they were. My daughter had just tried to make me sick, and I knew why. Let me back up. My name is Margaret Chen, but everyone calls me Maggie. I'm 72 years old. I've been a widow for 5 years, since my husband David died of a heart attack. We'd been married for 47 years. He was a good man. We raised 2 kids in this house, a modest ranch style in the suburbs east of Los Angeles. Nothing fancy, but it's mine. Paid off. David made sure of that before he went. I worked as a nurse for 35 years, retired when David got sick so I could take care of him. I know medicine, I know health, and I damn sure know when someone is trying to poison me, even if it's by taking away what keeps me alive. My daughter Jessica is 45. She married Ryan about 10 years ago. He works in sales, something with tech companies. She's a real estate agent, though I haven't seen her close many deals lately. They live in a condo in Riverside, about 30 minutes from me. They have no children. Jessica says they never wanted any, but I've always wondered if that was really true or just what they tell people. For most of Jessica's life, we had a good relationship. Not perfect, but good. She was my first child, my little girl. I taught her to be independent, to stand up for herself. Maybe I did too good a job. After David died, she started coming around more often. At first, I thought she was worried about me being alone. I appreciated it, but over the last 6 months, something changed. It started small. Jessica would visit and comment on things. The garden was getting overgrown. The AC was making a funny noise. Did I remember to take my pills this morning? Little things that felt like concern but had sharp edges underneath. Then Ryan started coming with her. He'd walk through the house like he was appraising it, touching the walls, checking the windows. Once I caught him in David's old office, looking at papers on the desk. "Just curious about the property tax," he said when I asked what he was doing. "Seems high for a house this size." I didn't like it, but I let it go. They were family. 3 months ago, Jessica brought up the idea of me signing a medical power of attorney, just in case, she said. We were sitting in my kitchen, drinking iced tea. She'd brought the papers with her, already filled out. "You're not getting any younger, Mom. If something happens and you can't make decisions, someone needs to be able to help you. I'm a nurse. I know what power of attorney means." I told her I'd think about it. She didn't like that answer. Her smile got tight. "Most people your age have this taken care of," she said. "It's responsible." I told her I was still capable of making my own decisions. She left the papers on my counter. I threw them away after she left. That's when things escalated. 2 weeks later, I found a burnt pot in my sink. I don't remember leaving anything on the stove, but Jessica was suddenly there, having stopped by to check on me. She made a big deal about it. "Mom, you could have burned the house down. You're forgetting things." I wasn't forgetting. I barely cook anymore. But she took a photo of the pot and sent it to my son, Michael, who lives in Seattle. Michael called me that night, concerned. "Mom, Jessica's worried about you. Maybe you should let her help more." I told Michael I was fine. He wanted to believe me, but I could hear the doubt in his voice. Then Ryan called Adult Protective Services. I found out because a social worker showed up at my door one Tuesday morning. She said there'd been an anonymous report of an elderly woman living in unsafe conditions. She was very kind but thorough. She walked through my house, asked me questions, checked my medications. She found nothing wrong because there was nothing wrong. But the visit rattled me. Jessica called that evening. "I heard someone came to check on you," she said. "That must have been scary." "See, this is why you need help, Mom. People are worried." I asked her if she knew who called. She said she didn't, but her voice was too smooth, too practiced. "The fall happened 3 weeks ago. I was in my garden, watering my tomato plants. It's my favorite part of the house, that garden. David and I planted it together 30 years ago. Jessica and Ryan showed up unannounced. Ryan wanted to look at the AC unit because he said he'd heard it struggling. I told him it was fine, but he went around to the side of the house anyway. Jessica followed me into the garden. We talked about nothing important. Then my foot caught on something, and I went down hard on my right side. Jessica was right there, gasping, helping me up. But later, after the hospital, I wondered, had my foot caught on the hose, or had something else happened? The memory was fuzzy. They insisted on taking me to the emergency room. My hip was bruised, but nothing was broken. The doctor said I was lucky. Jessica sat with me in the exam room while Ryan handled the paperwork. At one point, the doctor asked me questions. Did I feel safe at home? Did I have any memory problems? I could see Jessica watching me, her expression concerned but her eyes calculating. I said I was fine. The doctor didn't look convinced. Your daughter mentioned you've had some confusion lately, he said. Forgetting things, leaving the stove on. I told him that was exaggerated. But once something like that is in your medical record, it stays there. That's when I realized what they were doing. They were building a case, not a criminal case, a medical one. They wanted me declared incompetent. A week after my fall, papers arrived in the mail from a law office. My hands trembled as I read them. They were forms for temporary guardianship, suggesting I stay at an assisted living facility while my house underwent necessary repairs and updates. The papers said it was for my safety. Jessica had already signed as the petitioner. I called her immediately. Mom, don't be upset, she said. This is just temporary. The house needs work. The AC is dying. The roof has leaks. The wiring is old. You can't live there safely while contractors are working. I told her I hadn't agreed to any contractors. She sighed like I was being difficult. This is exactly why we need to make these decisions for you, she said. You're not thinking clearly. I hung up on her. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. For the first time in my life, I was afraid of my own daughter. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, listening to the house settle, thinking about David. What would he do? David was always practical. He'd say, document everything, get proof, don't act on emotion. So that's what I decided to do. The next morning, I went to the hardware store and bought a doorbell camera, the kind that records video. I installed it myself. Took me 2 hours and a YouTube tutorial, but I got it working. Then I started writing everything down in a notebook. Dates, times, conversations. What Jessica said, what Ryan did. I keep it in my nightstand, under my Bible where they wouldn't think to look. I also called someone from my old book club, Patricia. We've been friends for 20 years. She's African American, 74, sharp as a tack, and doesn't suffer fools. I told her everything. She listened without interrupting, then said, Girl, you need a lawyer. Not next week, today. She gave me the name of her niece, Lisa Wu. Lisa's a lawyer who specializes in elder law. I called her that afternoon. She told me to come in the next day. Lisa is young, maybe 35, but she was all business. She listened to my story, took notes, and didn't treat me like I was crazy or paranoid. When I finished, she leaned back in her chair. Mrs. Chen. What they're doing is called elder financial abuse. It's more common than people think. They're trying to get control of your assets, probably starting with your house. Can they do that? I asked. If they can prove you're incompetent, yes. That's why they're creating a paper trail. The burnt pot, the fall, the APS call. They're making you look like you can't take care of yourself. My stomach twisted. What do I do? First, don't sign anything. Second, keep documenting everything. The doorbell camera is smart. Third, I'm going to file a restraining order if they try to force you into any facility. And fourth, we need to get ahead of this. I want you to see a doctor, an independent one, not anyone Jessica has access to. Get a full cognitive evaluation. If you pass, and I think you will, That's ammunition. I left her office feeling lighter than I had in weeks. I wasn't alone. I had a plan. That was 10 days ago. Since then, I've been playing along. When Jessica calls, I'm pleasant, but vague. When Ryan asks about the house, I say I'm thinking about their suggestions. I let them think I'm considering the guardianship papers. But I'm not. I'm gathering evidence. 3 days ago, Jessica showed up at my door at 7 in the morning. I answered in my bathrobe. She had coffee and pastries from the bakery I like. "I wanted to catch you before you started your day," she said, breezing past me into the kitchen. "I thought we could have breakfast and talk about next steps." I let her in but stayed cautious. She set out the pastries and poured coffee. We sat at the kitchen table like we'd done 1,000 times before, but everything felt different now. She kept talking about the assisted living facility, how nice it was, how I'd have friends there, how they'd take care of everything. "You won't have to worry about a thing, Mom," she said. "We'll handle the house sale." "The sale?" I interrupted. She blinked, realizing she'd slipped up. "I mean, the repairs. We'll handle the repairs." But I'd heard what she said. Sale. They wanted to sell my house while I was locked away in some facility. This house, where I raised my children, where David died, where my whole life lived in the walls. I excused myself to use the bathroom. When I came back, Jessica was standing near my pill organizer on the counter. She moved away quickly, but I saw her slip something into her purse. My heart pounded. I didn't say anything. I just sat back down and ate my pastry and nodded while she talked. After she left, I checked my pills. My insulin was gone. Both bottles. I keep 2. One in the fridge and a backup in the cupboard. Both were missing. That's when I went outside and found them in the trash. I stood in my driveway in the June heat, holding those bottles, and something in me crystallized. This wasn't my daughter anymore. I don't know who this person was, but she was willing to kill me, slowly, to get what she wanted. Because that's what taking a diabetic's insulin is. Attempted murder. I went back inside and called Lisa Wu. She answered on the second ring. "She took my insulin," I said. "I found it in the trash. I have it on camera. Don't touch anything else," Lisa said. "I'm calling the police. Are you safe right now? Is she there?" "No, she left an hour ago." "Good. Lock your doors. I'll be there in 40 minutes. While I waited, I sat on my couch and thought about all the moments I'd doubted myself over the past 6 months. All the times Jessica had made me question my own memory, my own competence. Gaslighting, Patricia called it. Making someone think they're crazy when they're not. My daughter had been gaslighting me for months, and I'd almost fallen for it. My neighbor, Mr. Rodriguez, knocked on my door 20 minutes later. He's 71, a widower like me. We've lived next door to each other for 15 years, but we've gotten closer since David died. He brings me vegetables from his garden sometimes. I bring him cookies. "Maggie, you okay?" he asked through the door. I saw Jessica leave earlier. She looked upset. I let him in and told him everything. He'd suspected something was off. He'd seen Ryan walking around my property a few times, taking photos. Once, he saw Jessica trying the door handle when she thought I wasn't home. He'd been keeping an eye on things, but hadn't wanted to pry. "I'm here if you need anything," he said. "You've got my number. You call me, day or night." When Lisa arrived, she had a police officer with her. Not a detective, just a patrol officer, but that was enough. I showed them the doorbell camera footage from that morning. It clearly showed Jessica entering my kitchen, me leaving the room, and Jessica going through my pill organizer and putting something in her purse. Then I showed them the insulin bottles from the trash. The officer took a statement. Lisa explained that this was elder abuse and attempted harm. They could arrest Jessica, but did I want that? I had to think. She was still my daughter, but she'd tried to hurt me. Maybe kill me. "What are my options?" I asked. Lisa laid it out. Criminal charges or a civil protective order. Criminal meant Jessica could go to jail. Civil meant she'd be legally barred from contacting me or coming near my property. Both had consequences. I chose civil for now. Lisa said we could always pursue criminal charges later, if needed. The officer filed the report. Lisa filed the protective order. By that evening, Jessica had been served. She called my phone 37 times in 2 hours. I didn't answer. She left voicemails. The first few were confused. "Mom, what's going on? Call me." Then angry. "You can't do this. I'm your daughter." Then desperate. "Mom, please. We can work this out." Ryan called too. His messages were different, threatening. "You're making a big mistake. You're going to regret this. We'll fight this in court. We'll prove you're incompetent." I saved every voicemail. More evidence. The next day, Lisa and I went to court for the protective order hearing. Jessica and Ryan were there with their own lawyer. Jessica cried on the stand, said she was just trying to help me, that I was confused and forgetting things. Their lawyer tried to make me look like a vindictive old woman who was punishing her daughter for caring too much. Then Lisa played the doorbell camera footage. The courtroom was silent as everyone watched Jessica go through my pills and take my insulin. You could see it clearly. No confusion, no accident, deliberate. The judge granted the protective order. Jessica and Ryan were barred from contacting me or coming within 500 feet of my property for 1 year. Jessica left the courtroom sobbing. Ryan glared at me like he wanted to hurt me. I stared right back. I wasn't afraid anymore. That was 2 weeks ago. Since then, I've had the locks changed. I've updated my will with a new lawyer, someone Lisa recommended. The house goes to Michael when I die, not Jessica. I've also changed all my beneficiaries on my bank accounts and insurance policies. Jessica gets nothing. That sounds harsh, but she chose this. She chose money over me. I also had that cognitive evaluation Lisa recommended, passed with flying colors. The doctor said my memory and decision-making abilities are excellent for my age. I have the report now. Official documentation that I'm competent. If Jessica or Ryan ever try this again, I have proof. Life has been quieter since the protective order. I won't lie and say it doesn't hurt. Jessica is still my daughter. I still love her. Or at least, I love who she used to be, but I don't trust her. I may never trust her again, and that's a grief I'm still processing. Patricia has been amazing. She comes over twice a week for coffee. We don't always talk about what happened. Sometimes we just sit in the garden and complain about the heat or gossip about the book club. It's normal, and I need normal right now. Mr. Rodriguez has been wonderful too. He fixed my AC last week when it actually did start acting up. He wouldn't let me pay him. Said that's what neighbors do. We've started having dinner together once a week, trading off cooking. Last night I made my mother's chicken adobo, and he brought homemade tamales. We sat on my back porch and talked about our late spouses, our kids, our lives. It was nice, more than nice. Michael flew down from Seattle last week. He'd been following everything from a distance, getting updates from Lisa when I was too tired to talk. He felt guilty for doubting me initially, for siding with Jessica even a little bit. I told him he didn't know. None of us wanted to believe Jessica could do something like this. "I'm so sorry, Mom," he said, hugging me in my kitchen. "I should have known something was wrong." "You're here now," I told him. "That's what matters." We spent 3 days together. He helped me organize the house, set up some safety features like grab bars in the bathroom and non-slip mats, things I probably should have done years ago but was too stubborn to admit I needed. He also helped me set up online banking so I could monitor my accounts better. I'm not as tech-savvy as I'd like to be, but I'm learning. Before Michael left, we went through photo albums together. Pictures of Jessica as a little girl, as a teenager, at her wedding. She was beautiful and bright and full of potential. I don't know where that person went. Maybe she was always like this, and I just didn't see it. Or maybe something changed in her that I'll never understand. Michael doesn't know either. He said he and Jessica haven't spoken in 3 years. Not since she asked him for money and he said no. She cut me off after that, Michael told me. Said I was selfish. I thought she was just going through a rough patch. But now I wonder if this is who she's always been. I don't have an answer. All I know is that I'm safe now. My house is mine. My life is mine. I'm not anyone's retirement plan or bank account. This morning, I did something I haven't done in months. I worked in my garden. Really worked. Not just watering, but weeding, pruning, planting new flowers. The tomatoes are coming in beautifully. I picked a few and brought them to Mr. Rodriguez. He was in his own garden, and we stood at the fence between our yards, talking about nothing important. The weather, the neighbors, what to have for dinner next week. It felt normal. It felt peaceful. Later, I sat on my back porch with a glass of iced tea and my notebook. Not the one where I documented Jessica's abuse, but a new one. This one is for me. I'm writing down memories of David, stories I want to remember, recipes I don't want to lose. I'm writing about the garden and the house and the life I've built here. This is my home. This is my story. And no one, not even my daughter, gets to take that away from me. Tomorrow, I'm going to the book club meeting for the first time since all this started. Patricia's been saving me a seat. Next week, Mr. Rodriguez and I are driving out to the coast for the day. He's never been to this little seafood place I love in Santa Barbara. I'm looking forward to it. I'm 72 years old. I'm a widow. I'm a retired nurse. I'm a mother, though that relationship is more complicated now than it used to be. But more than anything, I'm a woman who refused to be a victim. When my daughter tried to take everything from me, I fought back. Not with anger or revenge, but with the law and the truth. And I won. Some roots are worth saving. Some aren't. I'm learning to tell the difference. And I'm learning that saying no, setting boundaries, protecting yourself, none of that makes you a bad mother or a bad person. It makes you human. It makes you strong. I water my garden every morning now. I take my insulin on schedule. I lock my doors at night. And I sleep peacefully, knowing that the life I built with David, the home we made together, is still mine. Jessica wanted to take that away, but she couldn't, because I didn't let her. That's the story. That's my story. And it's not over yet. There's still life to live, still tomatoes to grow, still dinners to share with good friends, still mornings where I wake up in my own bed, in my own house, free and independent, and exactly where I want to be. Jessica calls sometimes, from blocked numbers. I never answer. She leaves voicemails, still crying, still saying she's sorry, still insisting she was only trying to help. Maybe she believes that. Maybe she's convinced herself that taking my insulin was somehow for my own good. I don't know, and I don't need to know. That's not my burden to carry anymore. I spoke to Lisa yesterday. She called to check in, see how I was doing. I told her about the garden, about Mr. Rodriguez, about book club. She sounded pleased. "You're doing exactly what you should be doing," she said. "Living your life. Thank you," I told her, "for everything. You saved me." "No," she said. "You saved yourself. I just gave you the tools." Maybe she's right. When Jessica threw away my insulin, she thought she was taking away my ability to fight back. But she forgot who raised her. She forgot that I spent 35 years as a nurse, dealing with emergencies, making life or death decisions, advocating for patients who couldn't advocate for themselves. She forgot that I'm not helpless. I never was. The protective order is good for a year. After that, I'll decide what to do next. Maybe I'll renew it. Maybe I won't need to. Maybe by then Jessica will have moved on, found some other way to solve whatever financial problems she and Ryan have. Or maybe she'll still be angry, still plotting. I can't control that. I can only control my own life, my own choices. And I choose peace. I choose my garden and my friends and my independence. I choose to water my tomatoes and cook dinner for my neighbor and go to book club and maybe, someday, take that trip to Italy I've always wanted to take. David and I planned to go after he retired, but we ran out of time. Maybe I'll go alone, or maybe I'll ask Mr. Rodriguez if he wants to come. He mentioned once that his grandparents were from Sicily. Could be nice. The point is, I have options. I have a future. For a while there, when Jessica was tightening the noose, I felt like I was losing everything. My home, my autonomy, my dignity. But I didn't lose any of it. I kept it all because I refused to give up. If there's a lesson in this, it's that. Don't give up. Don't let anyone, even family, make you doubt yourself or take what's yours. Document everything. Get help. Stand your ground. You deserve to live your life on your own terms, no matter how old you are. I'm 72, and I'm just getting started.